We're live again. Hopefully the audio is not choppy this time around. This time we're only on. Hopefully the audio is not choppy this time around. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. I just tested it. The audio is good.
Okay. Hello, Ara.
Greetings. So I think we need to only go on YouTube because I was streaming on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. I think it needs to be YouTube exclusive.
Okay, so do we do this today on StreamYard?
Yes. And I took the opportunity to make this thumbnail. So this is the thumbnail for this live stream.
Okay, so this is the building, one building from several buildings on the Eishin campus that Christopher Alexander built in outside Tokyo, in Japan, in the 80s. He took several years to build this. So let's see, where do we start? The lake. The lake is an artificial lake. This area was all bushes, tea bushes, complete tea bushes, and there was one part of the board of trustees of this college. This is a college and high school. So the board of trustees put money and they bought many plots of tea bushes, put them together in order to make an area large enough for the campus. And there was one region that the water would flow down and there was just mud. So the tea bushes would not grow there. So this was really an ugly part of the entire area that they had bought. So Christopher thought, well, maybe I'll do something and make it very pretty, because the water is already flowing down in this area. So then he developed a pattern language for the campus by interviewing all the teachers and the staff of the existing buildings, which were placed in downtown Tokyo. But I've never seen photos. It was supposedly just very ugly buildings in downtown Tokyo, very high density. So he gave all these people a checklist, and he interviewed each one of them. And he said, please describe to me the most beautiful campus in the world, and we will build it for you in the new location out in the tea bushes. And these people were just completely blown away. And they said, well, we don't know what to say, because, of course, we're going to have some concrete buildings like we have here in Tokyo. He said, no, forget this. Just imagine the most beautiful buildings, the most beautiful setting, and describe how it is, how it feels like to be in the campus. And he had to go to a lot of trouble to convince them to open up. But when the faculty and the staff began to open up, they would say, between my courses, I like to walk along some water to look at the water, maybe some ducks, and prepare for my next course. Oh, here's Nir. Hello, Nir.
Hello.
Yeah.
We're talking about your favorite architect.
Yeah, we're talking about Christopher. So
we would offer him a place in the classic planning academy to become architecturally literate.
Too late.
Too late. Oh my God, I missed it. All right.
You missed it, Nir.
I missed it.
Okay, so I was saying, so the teachers...
just a little question before you continue, and I'm sorry to interrupt. Would you like Pablo Funes? I was just in a student interview with him. Would you like him to join us now?
Of course.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I love Pablo. And we can talk in Spanish.
I did notice something interesting about this building that I might borrow. So on this long elevation, he has 4 bays and then 5 bays and then 4 bays.
Yeah.
And it seems like it wouldn't otherwise be separated, but it's just these subtle lines here, this line here and this line here, which made this like a central portion and then separated these two. I might borrow that. That's a very subtle move.
I cannot answer that. This is Christopher, is a great genius. But, as I was saying, the questionnaire, the interviews, actually, people interviews the faculty said, I would love to have some water to look out on as I'm walking. Another faculty explicitly said, the most beautiful place I can imagine for a campus is to have a lake so that I can look over the lake between my classes. So he said, well, here is this place. We have the land, and there is a brackish water that collects. I'll make an artificial lake out of this. And this is the most beautiful part. Hola, Pablo, ¿cómo estás?
Hola, Nikos. Hello. Ara, very happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Greetings, Pablo.
Hello.
So, I mean, we since we have Pablo, we kind of go on to other things, but I wanted to mention the approach before designing anything, just to get the most intimate and positive feelings from the actual users of the future campus. Tell them, imagine the most beautiful place that you can imagine for the new campus. What does it look like? What does it feel like? So he documented all of this, and that became the pattern language upon all of this was developed. So contrast this with today's arrogant architect who says, I'm going to come up with an idea and I draw it on my computer and I will build it, and then people will have to use it. So this is the sadistic approach to architecture. So I'm sure even Near will agree that with the contrast that occurs to try to create a beautiful environment, a healing environment for the people who are going to use it for years afterwards. So now we can leave Christopher and go over to Near and Pablo.
Oh, I just did have one question. Did he only design this building of the campus, or did he design other buildings?
No.
Building and some of the
there are 20 buildings in the campus. His team designed all of the buildings. It took several years to design and build them.
It is a nice. It is.
I have to say that I like the truss. That's a very nice timber truss.
Well, yeah, go back, Ara. This is an original timber truss, and I was talking to Ara before we started to record. Christopher would adjust this on the computer according to beauty, what he felt was beauty. At the same time, he had another computer that would do the calculations, the engineering calculations. And so he went through many iterations of this. And it turns out that the optimal beauty of the truss coincided with the optimal engineering stress analysis. And this is an important point that Christopher insisted upon, that beauty goes along with structure. It's one and the same. And that nobody believes, because the modernists say, in order to have structure, it has to be ugly. Or if you want something beautiful, it's not functional. That's nonsense. Christopher showed in his own buildings that beauty and structure are one if you follow this biological beauty.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and this is wood. So this is one of the largest buildings made out of wood in post-war Japan.
Okay. This is quite interesting. I mean, it's the structural system. I mean, having come from La Tablegon Summer School, which we were doing a lot of timber carpentry. I mean, it's really nice. I'm having done a couple of them myself. It's a really nice design, actually.
The timber part is compelling. It's nice. Without the rest of the building, it probably has a very high. It has a very high. Can you show all of it? Yeah, and all the way to the ground. Can I mark this up in any manner? No, right?
I can send this to you and you can screen share.
Okay.
If that works.
Yeah, I'll open I'll mark it up in.
By the way, I noticed the art of classic planning is there's like a preview online. It looks like it's scanned, but you don't have like the full ebook available online.
Actually, there's
an ebook.
Some kind of ebook thing that Harvard set up so that they would maintain the rights to the ebook, but I never wanted it to be an ebook one way or another.
Oh, it's published by Harvard?
Yes. Can you put the image in the chat window?
Oh, can I? Maybe.
What I wanted to show was that Alexander understood a lot of stuff intuitively.
Yes.
But he did not have, he was a mathematician. And the idea of reasoning in architecture is not mathematical. At best, architecture uses the compass and the straight edge for proportion, and that's irrational. It's using irrational numbers, irrational relationships.
Near, be careful. I'm a professor of mathematics.
I know.
Are you questioning your friend, namely me?
No. What I'm saying is, I had a conversation with one of the great classicists yesterday. I'm actually tying things together, and he said that he doesn't use reason, or he is not a reasoning architect. He's an intuitive architect, and I am saying that who is this person?
I have no idea.
Somebody who has great insight.
We have more people coming in.
Yeah.
All the proportions of the classical method actually serve all the architectures in the world. And Alexander tried to find these, and he intuitively did find them. I don't see the picture yet. Is it?
Oh, you have it in your email.
Thank you.
Sure.
Look, I recommend, Nir, that you talk as little as possible about Christopher.
I'm not talking about him. Okay, I'm going to talk to that picture.
Okay.
So I'm going to take the picture, and I'm going to copy it. I'm going to place it here.
Okay, so before Nir starts to, Nir cannot control himself. He's going to criticize Christopher. But I want to tell a story. That Christopher told me, and which is repeated in his book, because he wrote a book about just this campus. So he said in the old campus, which was downtown Tokyo, there was a bus to bring students in. So the students would come in, and then there were 3 buses to take students when the classes were over. So the first bus was always packed full, and some students could not get into the bus and would wait for the second bus, and then maybe 1 or 2 would wait for the third bus. Now, Christopher designed and built a new campus. In the new campus, the first bus would leave empty. The students didn't want to leave the campus. They wanted to stay on campus. And the last bus would be jam-packed with students because they just didn't want to leave the campus to go to wherever they lived. They enjoyed the place so much.
So what I wanted to do here was just draw a few lines here.
Yeah, show us, Nir.
Now I have to make the lines now, and I will get the color, shape outline. This is the color, and now I'm going to make it heavier. Okay, we got a line here. We got a line here. Actually, I'm going to go to edges. So you can see here that there are a number of proportions that are used that are I'm going to now change color. I'm going to put this over here. You can see that he used stuff that is close to golden section.
No, he hasn't. Come on, Nier.
Just a minute. And equality. There's a differentiation.
Nier, you're talking
Hold on a
about-
minute. No. This is actually the classical method of proportioning.
Oh, Dios mío.
What? What's Dios mío? This is actual science. This is how it works.
You're putting line on the perspective, so the thing is
No. I'm
is
taking
distorted by
only.
the perspective.
I'm taking only the first. Taking only the first. Taking only the first truss, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hola, Pablo, ¿ves que tenemos que soportar cada semana con Nier?
excuse me.
Okay.
Architectural literacy includes an understanding of architectural proportions. These are things that have been around for a long time, and this is how they work. There are 3 types of architectural proportions that are essential. Number 1 is equality. It's a proportion of 1 to 1. We see here in the middle tier a proportion of 1 to 1. We see in the lowest tier and in the upper tier a proportion of large and small. So there is a larger bit happening over here, larger bit happening over here, and a smaller thing happening above it, roughly, very roughly, golden section. We see a
Sorry, I don't mean to distract you, but someone
architectural literacy, Skippy, is not about loyalty. Architectural literacy is like reading literacy, that you actually use letters to read, you use grammar to understand, and architectural literacy works like that. And you're welcome to attend on Monday mornings at 10 a.m. EDT. I speak to these things, and it is actually the lingua franca of architecture. Alexander's work on architecture was a very personal journey, and it affected a lot of people. And it's very nice that he had such an impact on the people. Now I'm telling you something that has been around for about 5,000 years. We have been using it consistently and in a discourse, 5,000-year discourse, that Mr. Alexander was not part of. And I'm just sharing this.
You and I disagree on this because I maintain that Christopher's method of design is timeless. It includes the 5,000 years of architectural history.
I know that is what you claim.
Yeah,
but
okay.
If you read Reginald Blomfield, who wrote in the early 20th century about the touchstone of architecture and so on, this knowledge existed, done, complete. And Alexander, actually, he was showing us some of the effects of it. And he was looking at the effects of this method, the classical method, and trying to explain. It's like trying to read Shakespeare by counting all the A's, counting all the B's, counting all the C's. It was an analytical approach that lost.
Totally disagree.
Okay, fine. All I'm saying here is,
yeah, have you finished your analysis with the green and red lines?
No, I haven't. If you're not interested in this, I can just pass.
No. I want you to finish the analysis because then I want to hear Pablo, because we have Pablo here for the first time. So I want to hear his take on this. So please finish your analysis.
Okay. Thank you very much. That is very kind of you. And I do appreciate that.
Look, I'm not the boss here. This is an equal participation.
what I want to, I don't know how do I do this. Let me see just here, just a second. I'm going to put in here something that.
Either way, if it was his personal journey or if he was uncovering something objective, I think he brought us all together here in an indirect way, because this podcast might have not been happening if it wasn't for him, because like Nikos and I connected, and then
I definitely agree that Alexander asked all the right questions. I don't know that his answers were of, I'm not judging the value of his answers, and I agree with you. And we owe a debt of gratitude to all those who brought us here, includes Alexander, includes the new urbanists, because they in the 60s, 70s pushed. But after the 80s, after postmodernism, the new traditional architecture world started emerging. So we have here, I just want to so we have here punctuation. We have here differentiation, equality, and again differentiation. These are the basic proportions that we can identify in this thing. There are also proportions that have to do with historic, personal, and local, regional style. Talking about that. The prettiest element in this image is undoubtedly this truss thing. And it has in it, intuitively, apparently articulated by Mr. Alexander, the three primary proportions of architecture. Equality, that's a one-to-one, and that includes all of the symmetry, all the bilateral symmetries that we see. It is bilaterally symmetrical on its axis. It has that in it, which obviously is it's obviously bilateral symmetrical on its center axis. It has differentiation of important and less important. So you have the more important is the wall supporting, or the thing, the elements supporting the first hammer curve, and then the hammer curves themselves are articulated in the vertical, and then what is supported, the supporting is given importance versus the supported. And then you have the punctuation at the very, very top, or it occurs repeatedly, actually. It repeats itself every time you have, it appears to repeat itself in the perspective as we look down. So you have this thing happening here, and then it happens over here, and then it happens over here, that we have this punctuative proportion repeated. So the fractality of that thing is very high.
Okay, have you finished your exposition?
The rest is sort of just there. Professor Funes.
Yeah, no. Before Professor Funes, I want to say that what you have described is completely consistent with Christopher's analysis of geometry and the 15 fundamental properties, and my work that deepens the geometry with the symmetries and the fractals. Completely consistent. There is no disagreement there.
No, okay. There isn't.
No. So
I think that your work on fractality, I think, is super significant. Your path to it, whatever it was, is your path to it, and I obviously respect that.
Okay, but look, there are many students that listen to our podcasts. They should get the idea that there is no argument here on what we have discussed for the last 15 minutes. We totally agree. You may disagree with other things, but we agree with this. So, Pablo, please, we would like your contribution to our meeting.
Yeah, do something to blow us away and take us off this point.
Okay, I mean, I think I am going to add some fuel to the fire, unfortunately, because while I see that the structure is quite nice, interesting, and it's a hammer and post beam, I'm wondering, it doesn't look to me, I mean, considering it is in Japan, doesn't look Japanese at all to me. So my question from a person who is not very fluent on Christopher Alexander theories is like, how do you interpret that? Because technically, if we should be following that pattern language, I feel that it's failing to show the essential patterns of what should be the Japanese architecture. While I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's what I feel, that it's not there. There is an incoherent point in here in which we are talking about principles, patterns, and at the same time, he's creating here a wonderful building that would suit very well the United States or England, but I don't see this working with a theory of trying to find that the universal language that we are getting here is not universal at all. We are basically importing English architecture into Japan, which is not a problem, because the Japanese architecturally have been loving that since the Meiji Restoration. But I am wondering, what is Japanese architecture in here?
Okay, I will answer that.
Yes, please.
Because I have some old conversations with Christopher.
Yeah.
Please, let's distinguish between the form language. Pablo is referring to the form language as the actual shape and the material, and not the pattern language. The pattern language is very abstract and says a shape has to contain people and you have to have windows over here. So that's the pattern language. That's completely universal. So this is not an application of, this applies pattern language, but what we see is the form language. So Christopher had in mind a vocabulary of Japanese form language, but to be used where applicable. His intention was not to apply strictly Japanese form language. Whenever there was a choice, he would prefer the Japanese form language, and we can see that in the other buildings, especially on the outside. They sort of look Japanese, but it was not his intention to make them look Japanese. They came out looking Japanese because when there was a choice, he would choose the traditional Japanese form language. But his main goal was to satisfy the volume and the function and the approach and the tectonics and the materials that he used. So if that happens to look English, as you say, it was a coincidence.
That looks Romanesque, if anything.
No, but it was not his intention to copy anything. His intention was to create.
Well, so he's a modernist. He's trying to create new forms. And that really is, look, he came at a period where traditional architecture was not being taught almost anywhere, if at all. And he didn't have access to that body of knowledge. That's a historic fact. So it doesn't take away anything from what he did. He looked at things and he tried to find the magic, and he created a system of thinking that one way or another tried to capture some magic in his ways. Whether he succeeded or not is not relevant.
He succeeded 100%, and I want you to let Pablo speak, please.
Sorry.
No, I mean, I still think that, I mean, the bridge looks Japanese. The building looks, the building still looks to me like a Tudor barn, like a tight barn. Unfortunately, if you go to the other picture where you can see the whole campus, I see something at the background.
Yeah, make it. It's a wooden
It's a
Romanesque
Buddhist icon.
basilica. It is what it is. I really don't know. It doesn't.
You know, but
the bridge looks Japanese, full on. That thing.
My comment on all these is that to which because I mean, to which extent shouldn't he have been? And I'm not talking about success of the campus. That's secondary. I'm speaking through. Yeah, that's different. That is what they would have expected to see. That is what they would have expected to see. The other. I mean, what I wanted to say with this is that, and I'm playing a little bit of a woke.
Is this his design also? Is this part of his design?
Yeah, that's part of the campus.
Okay, well, that's very nice. That's very successful.
So Pablo likes that, but this is part of the campus that looks very Japanese, but that happens to be because things coincided. It was not his intention to make it look Japanese, as I keep trying to explain.
Well, that was a mistake.
But I did that is my question. Why wasn't his intention? Why trying to look for universal patterns? He ended up and I'm playing a bit of devil's advocate. I know. I'm very aware, and I'm just putting the finger on the
Pablo, we welcome you playing devil's advocate.
So basically, what I am saying is that in order to find, and I'm going to play with a little bit of all this rhetoric that we use nowadays.
Aras,
basically, it's like
give more time to each visual so we can study.
In order to find a universal pattern, it ended up generating in a big percentage of the campus a lot of Western patterns imported into Japan. So I'm seeing here some comments that say Japanese Western architectural history has a strong Christian mystery tradition. Of course, since the Meiji tradition, Japanese culture architecture has been completely Westernized. I am not trying to criticize one or the other. What I'm trying to understand is why that universal pattern, it ended up looking so Western in most of the campus.
And not very pretty. This is not an attractive environment in and of itself.
Near, you're criticizing.
No, this is not. This is a neuroaesthetic evaluation. On the beauty scale, when I look at this, it has a very low number. And I'm wondering why anybody would want to be there. Seriously.
Well, I unfortunately was unable to visit this while I was in Japan, but I am told by people who visited that it feels fantastic when you're there in person.
I am not saying that it doesn't look or feel fantastic or not. I am just saying that basically I'm pointing out that the search of those universal patterns, whether we like it or not, have ended up resulting in a Western-like architecture. And what from a Christopher Alexander perspective, what can you say about that? What can you say about it? How will it? How is it be read on that context? Does it make sense? My question.
Your question makes sense, but it's too academic contemporary architecture where we pay attention to the way the style of things. Christopher was not concerned with style. He was concerned.
He was very concerned with style. This is Christopher Alexander's style.
He doesn't have a style. He
does have a style.
Feeling. He was concerned with the feeling.
Listen. A style is anything you can look at and imitate. And I can imitate all of this thing and make a whole city in this style. It's very easy to do. And because it has all these repetitive patterns, it's got its own pattern language. It's got its own shape grammars. So it's actually, this is a style. The notion that we're not working in a style is a modernist notion. That was the thinking that was available at the time. The point of origin was what was actually happening in the 60s when he was working. And the value of Christopher Alexander was that he said, it's not working. We need to do something else. And that's really, it propelled a lot of thinking. But it's not architectural design thinking. It is some very personal approach to things, which actually does not, you look at this and say, Okay, it doesn't look like modernist metal and glass. True, but it's not that appealing either. By the way, do you notice the hexagon in the dark building with the reflection? That was very smart photography. Not that it does anything.
We can never stop you from.
This.
Yeah, the building and the reflection in the water.
Silhouette of it. Oh yeah, that is nice.
Yeah, but
That's good. That's good photography.
Yeah.
It's not great construction. It's not great architecture. There's no reason for anybody to emulate it. I don't think.
We can never prevent.
And I'm saying this as a modern trained architect. If I look at this,
I think that's the point. I mean, I'm talking from a specific Japanese experience. How do you translate the Japanese patterns into that? Because other than that picture, all the others I struggle to. That one, yeah, some of them.
This thing has some of the Japanese something to it, but it's like a Western child tried to create a Japanese sensibility. I'm saying this as a modernist designer.
No. You're getting to be insulting. So I think
why? When you talk about design, it's a world out there that people have been doing for a long time. Even modernist architects would be looking at this. That's somewhat compelling as an image.
Yeah. Show those beams again. This is nice.
I'm not saying that it's not nice. What I'm saying is that it basically my point in the eye is like, what is Japan in there, or is it relevant at all?
Is there a building there is no building that is that, right?
Yeah, I didn't see this built, but this drawing looks very Japanese.
This is
curvature
built
on the roof.
Yeah, this is built. Yeah.
We don't see it. Is it there anywhere in the images?
It could be in another set of images.
I mean, if the guy wanted to do Japan, why aren't all the roofs Japanese? He's got that's a pattern language if I ever saw one.
I keep explaining and it doesn't get through. He did not try to copy Japanese architecture.
Why?
Because he wanted to create something that was universal, that felt Japanese, but not by copying explicit
Why
Japanese.
did he want to do that?
To show that today you can create buildings that feel Japanese, that don't copy Japanese buildings.
Why did he want to do that?
To show that architecture can generate today, that it's not stuck to copying other things.
Why did he want to do that?
To show that architecture today can be generative and innovative and human. That's what he wanted to show.
Why did he want to show that it's innovative and whatever?
To offset the modernists who claim to be innovative but create inhuman architecture. That is why.
But the final result is not that appealing. It's not that great overall.
You have already criticized far too much.
No, it's not about criticism. I'm saying if you want humane architecture, wouldn't it want to be more appealing?
Look at these beams. This is fantastic. Look at these.
This is interesting. It's interesting. It looks like a nice room to be in, but it looks like it's an Austrian barn on the inside.
Well, Christopher happened to be Austrian.
Yeah. And what's the relevance of that to the location?
He did not copy the Austrian barn. He
did.
Something that felt good.
No, he worked from the sources he had.
I think that's the problem. That directly or indirectly.
This is nice.
Yeah, that's a good picture.
But this could be perfectly.
I thought at first that it was somewhere in the Gulf. It would look really great in the Gulf.
You see, that looks Qatari to me.
Yeah,
that looks Qatar, or you go to old Dubai.
Look, he created a style. He's got Christopher Alexander's style, just like Leon Krier has a style. And people may come back and imitate it at some point, and they may not. When I look at this, it's just available. It's available for use. It's definitely available for discussion.
This is a
You are
massive campus.
prejudiced. You're prejudiced because Leon was our friend.
No,
Yet you never criticize Leon's style, and here you constantly attack
because
Christopher's style.
Leon actually, the difference between Alexander and Leon is that Leon's an architect, was an architect, and Alexander was a mathematician, and that really colors his work. He tried to make the leap into the designer's world. It's a different world. It's a different mindset.
Here you're insulting me because I'm a mathematician.
No. It's mindsets. Look, in architecture, you have small, medium, and large building, and they're complete different mindsets. There are mindsets that are in operation. We have to respect all the different mindsets. To think that you're going into that you can, you need a different kind of a mindset when you're going into doing buildings. This is more or less Leon, especially the stuff on the right.
Yeah, this is Leon. No, look, before.
To be fair, this doesn't read like it's particularly Guatemalan either. Like this, you can read this as being more Western design also. I think.
On the contrary,
It's pretty Guatemalan. It's pretty Guatemalan.
Can I put the finish on Christopher's Japanese campus?
Yeah.
The faculty were expecting to move to another concrete box, and Christopher produced this nice campus with a lake that was 10,000 times better than a concrete box. Okay,
and that's wonderful. Okay,
I think that's wonderful. So
I think we live with that. I think that we can. I think in parts it's very successful. It has some really beautiful parts to it, and that looks pretty cool, whatever the hell it is. But I'm not sure of the universality that is claimed. That part I don't I'm really not that sure.
We have registered your objection.
Lack of sureness. What's a form language as opposed to a pattern language?
Let me explain again because
Please.
You didn't listen to me. A form language is the way things look, the way the windows are put together, what you put on the walls. A pattern language is how the spaces are related to each other.
Really?
So, yeah, a form
spaces.
language.
What are spaces? What are spaces?
You're interrupting me.
Sorry.
The form language is what you see, but the pattern language is what allows this to take shape.
So space allows the walls to happen.
The placement of the walls, the placement of the windows, the size of the windows, that's the pattern language. The form language are the details, the materials, the surfaces. It's what you see in the picture.
So are windows pattern language or form language?
The placement of the windows and the size of the windows are pattern language. The actual shape and the sill and the border of the windows are form language because you have to make a decision how wide they are, or what material to use.
That is a distinction that architects don't hold.
I know. This is Christopher's special distinction.
It is a distinction, and God bless. It's actually, God bless. Folks try to use it. So this is a very, very strange structure. I've known it since I was 10. I was there, actually.
Pablo wants to say something.
I mean, it's regarding the pattern language versus the form language. And again, I'm playing devil's advocate. It happens also to be that this pattern language is Western and it's not related with how windows are placed in Japan, which basically they don't have windows because they have more panels. And here we have this building in Kyoto to demonstrate that. So again, are we talking? And this, I mean, I know I'm making a tricky question. Are we talking about universal values, or are we talking about the universal values that Western architecture brings? Because we're going to assume from the point of view that they are better because they were adopted in Japan after the Meiji Restoration, etc., etc. So it's a tricky question, I know, but I think that but it's taken there. No, we're talking about pattern languages. Fine, I understand the positioning of the windows. Fine, which seems like pretty logical to me from a Western perspective, but will that work as a pattern language? Because it doesn't seem to work with what it is, the traditional Japanese architecture. Basically, my comment to that point is that are we talking about universal values, or are we talking about the export of Western patterns onto all the world, which we have been doing since the 15th century? It's okay. I am of the opinion that.
What do you mean the 15th century? Alexander the Great was a schlump?
Okay, fine. Since
okay, please let me answer Pablo's question. Yes, the pattern language.
Before I finish, after that, I want to do another comment about Guatemala before we jump on something.
Yes, okay. So let me answer Pablo's question, which is extremely important. The pattern language is indeed universal. It is not an import of Western patterns imposed in Japan. It is indeed universal. But once you're on the ground in Japan, you have to make decisions to use available local materials and respect the tradition of how people view windows. So you use the local patterns and inject them and shape them within the universal pattern language. So there is no danger that the pattern language is the importation of Western prototypes. So let's clear that up.
No. I am totally. I as I said, I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm playing the devil's advocate. That's what I was asking the question, just to try to twist the reasoning. I mean, I think that the campus looks nice. It is okay that it doesn't look completely Japanese. It would be impossible to make it look completely Japanese because these things didn't exist in Japan back then. So we don't have that. The closest thing we have like that are temples. We don't even have a madrasa in Japan that we could use as a reference. So we need to take the reference from somewhere. So
well,
that's
you have monasteries. You have monasteries in Japan, but the monasteries are Chinese things. You know, it's all importation.
Allow me to interrupt. This is the most Japanese school campus built post-war.
Likely.
Perfect or not?
Likely.
I don't think we are criticizing that, and I agree it looks Japanese, and I think that this opens like other questions on how Japan sits. I mean, and I am not Japanese, of course. I think it's pretty obvious, but I feel that there is all this symbolic value on the culture and keeping the traditions, that it is okay for Japanese not to have a formal framework to still feel the tradition. So you can live in a modernist building, you can teach in this campus and then feel still Japanese, because I feel that it goes beyond being Japanese, like being of any other nationality, sometimes goes beyond the architectural shape. So now my comment about Guatemala, about Ciudad Cayalá, and I think that in this case it actually looks, if you take a look at the details, if you take a look how Antigua Guatemala,
like Antigua,
it's like Antigua. Some of the details may have been abstracted, obviously, because of the budget constriction, but the architects behind are there. Obviously, I mean, they decided to go for a white color, but the architecture is there. The architectural elements, if you go to the right, the architecture is there. It's just
fractality, the fractality that I've been to Cayalá. And the fractality is there. It's there. It's good. It's good enough in that regard.
I just search Ciudad Guatemala, Guatemala capital, because Antigua Guatemala was destroyed by an earthquake. Then I mean, it's also based on the law of Indies. So we might need to go for something a little bit more. But
they used Antigua. They related to Antigua.
The one that is to your left. Guatemala. The fourth one to the that one.
Okay, but look,
I think maybe we're entering into much petty detail.
So, no. This is fascinating for the students who are listening to us. Leon's approach was extremely different from Christopher's approach. That is not to criticize one or the other. Both had fantastically positive results, because Cayalá is one of the great contemporary cities built.
And also, I think that we need to make a distinction between Leo Krier's original ideas and then the vision that the Studio Urbano has been implemented. So we have a combo here. We have two architectural offices, if you want to say so. We have Krier as the master planner, and then Studio Urbano as the architects, if you want to say so.
But he gave him a lot of the moves. He was very involved.
I'm friends with Maria and Pedro. They're fantastic architects, and they are extremely capable.
And you can say that the Japanese campus, it appears to have been built at different levels of quality of construction, different parts of it, there are different styles, there are different qualities of construction, they have different architectural expression. It could be that some of the structures received more per square foot investment than others. Some have more handwork than others, and so on and so forth. It seems a little uneven, whereas Cayalá, when architects look at things, we look not for the concepts that are embodied in them, but for the architectural experience, the experience of the place. And Cayalá is done by veteran designers who understand how to put stuff together so that it looks like whatever they want it to look. Less so maybe the Japanese example, where it seems just a little more uneven in that regard. And it begs the question, what really is trying to be expressed and how is it being expressed? And is a conceptual approach adequate for creating expression as rich as this? Because this, what you're seeing here, is a combo wombo of cultural expression. This is a pattern language or a form language or whatever you want to call it that is exceedingly rich, well detailed, well put together, coherent in its composition, and you know exactly what happens behind every one of the openings. You understand exactly the paving, you understand exactly the roof line. This is done masterfully, where the school seems to have different levels of expression to it. You really can see 3 different style buildings right there, or 4 different style buildings, and you ask yourself, what are they expressing? What is the reason for all this? And it's not evident.
I would like to cut through the tension created by the juxtaposition of Christopher versus Leon to point out to our audience that we have here 2 major projects of, groups of buildings, major projects that are human in scale, whether you're in love with them or not, they're human in scale. How many projects like this have been built around the world? Almost none. You have boxes, horrible boxes, or glass skyscrapers all over the world that are polluting the Earth's surface. So let's not fight about these differences, please.
And some of Alexander's success with this campus might be the site planning and his intention to put this body of water here, because it seems like that was his decision to do on the campus, and that wasn't something that was naturally part of it. And I think that really adds a lot to the campus.
You have some good shots, you have some good images of this. I really don't have any idea what the experience of the place is. I've never been there. I think that he no doubt did the best he could, and he put his whole heart into it, and he was a very very emotional. He had a lot of emotion in what he was doing. It really came from a good place. There's no doubt. This picture here, I really like it. It's highly fractal, and it's not only from the plants. If you just look at everything ABP, all but plants, you still get good fractality in this image.
Well, Christopher put all his soul into this. And after he finished it, the major Japanese architects conspired to get him thrown out of Japan to prevent any more projects, because they said, this guy built this thing and it undoes everything we have done of glass and steel, and he came within budget. Get him out of Japan. He's a threat to us.
Could be. It could be. I don't have any sympathy for modernist Japanese architecture overall. I think that they're intellectually interesting, and for Japan, they're very Japanese. The Japanese have a mindset that is very foreign to all things Western. And you really...
oh God, I remember having had Kazuyo Sejima at Sevilla University years ago, and people bombarded him with questions and wasn't able to answer them.
There's some ultra minimal architecture coming out of Japan, which
I mean,
it breaks away from
it's good for them, you know.
Ara, please get rid of this.
We don't want to look at this. Okay.
No. We have a beautiful video.
I've been pointing out, Nikos, about other urban developments. I was going to put Pondbury onto the equation, but because it was by Leon Krier, I don't want to put another Krier job onto the equation. But what about Baldugop? How would you put within all the Christopher Alexander, Baldugop, all the developments that Disney is doing on Baldugop?
Baldugop, how do you spell that?
Yeah, tell Ara and he'll find some portfolio.
VAL with D.
I think
Europe.
Now that I've dropped
Europe, Baldurop, yes. So you need to go. I think that that one. That is one. I think that you might have to write Baldurop series if you want to say that to see the whole development, or we might need to move around the Google Street View.
So was this Bontempi and
the square is by Bontempi, but the whole master plan is by Disney. And I think it would be better if you show
It's actually by Bernard, by
Bernard, by Disney. Basically.
Oh no, it wasn't. No, it was New Urbanist. Jacqueline Robertson. He did the master plan.
Oh really?
If you zoom in,
this whole thing within the circle.
Yeah. Go to the bottom of the circle. You see that circle there. That no, not yet. Let's not drop out because the quality. Just zoom in.
I should get rid of the labels, right? The labels are kind of distracting.
No, we can't mark on this. We need to meet on Zoom where we can mark. Can you make that happen in future?
Yes. So zoom in. And then you will start seeing the whole city. I mean, it's very good quality considering the down. That's the park. So all that area is the initial development that Disney has been doing for over 20 years.
The plaza is right here on your top middle.
You see the oval there a little bit.
Just drop everything an inch. No, up
on the other side.
Go up.
Yes.
There it is. You got the plaza.
The plaza. Okay.
The plaza is it's an imitation of the plaza, I think, in Lucca or in Al. Anyway,
all those buildings, all that architecture that you see there has been built in the last 20 years with different degrees of quality.
And Pablo Funes built a good amount of it.
Well, it was
he working for Ali Reza Sagarki.
It was a Stanhope Gate Architecture who did it. And
Stanhope Gate did a lot of it. John Simpson did a lot of the good stuff.
Deserve all the honors, Ali Reza Sagarki and Simon Lilly, for all the work that they did.
Pablo, tell us when it's one of your buildings with Ali Reza.
It's Ali's building. I mean, I didn't, none of the buildings that are there I work on. If you zoom out, Rumagejang, that's the one that you need to find.
Say it slowly so people can understand.
Go to the left. I think it's one of the, no, to the right, sorry, apologies. That's the Art Deco Quartier. Go to the right, go a bit down. So you see that building, up, a little bit up, sorry. So all that building that you see in construction, put the dummy there. On the picture, you will see it finished.
Here?
Yes. All that was done by Stanhope Gate Architecture. Zoom around. Yes.
That was nice.
It's very good quality.
Very nice.
And I think that the one to the right and there was done by John Simpson, but all that was done by Stanhope Gate.
It doesn't even look. It doesn't look.
And there's more done by Stanhope Gate.
Yes, there are two by Stanhope Gate.
Yeah. I got a tour of the whole thing, street by street.
Yeah.
It's a little bit amazing. And
excuse me. For our viewers, Stanhope Gate is Alireza Sagarchi, where Pablo Arrufunes is also.
I used to work. I worked there until 3 years ago.
Oh,
so
okay.
I don't work there anymore.
Okay.
But it was 12 amazing years, and I learned a lot there. So it's an amazing company, and they have been doing projects like this in Valdegop. This was the last one that they did, and as you can see, I mean, it works very well, and it's quite an amazing result. And I mean, obviously, it looks very French.
Yes,
so
it's beautiful. It's appropriate. It's
yeah,
very
I mean,
beautiful.
I think that well, I mean, we have exhausted the idea, but I mean, I wanted to put another example of another new development of urbanism that actually works quite well.
I actually think it's more successful in ways than Poundbury. I think Poundbury has some weird spaces to it. It will grow up eventually.
I think I was actually last Monday in Poundbury, and I think that the difference is that Poundbury is market rate. It's very far from everywhere. It's a bit elitist community, while this one combines perfectly social housing and market rate housing.
Market rate, yeah. But I think that in that regard, I don't think that really makes that difference.
Well, I mean, it makes in the sense that you are mixing up a lot of different social strata.
Yeah, but the mix does not appear architecturally.
No. But at the same time, you are complying with the government regulations of putting social housing and creating social housing that looks beautiful and not just brutalist concrete blocks, which is what we have everywhere in Europe. So of those buildings, I don't remember. I mean, obviously that's a new part. I think that's by a developer. That's not by. But there is some of them by John Simpson. The early ones are by Dimitri Porphyrios. Right. That one in the corner, I think, is by John Simpson.
Oh, the corner here. Let me put it on.
Yes. If you
I want to say something polemical in general. The names we have dropped, they fought viciously against the establishment in the 80s to try to get any project. You know, Porphyrios, Krier, Alexander. They were fighting tooth and nail. And today we can have buildings like this, gorgeous buildings that were just blocked for decades.
John Simpson, Robert Adam, Alireza Sagarchi, Quinlan Terry, Craig Hamilton, Liam O'Connor, all of them are now greenhouse prices, and they have. And if it wasn't because of that fight, we wouldn't be there. I don't think that's one. If you turn 180 degrees,
yes,
I think that the ones behind that one.
Oh, that's nice.
I think that those ones are by John Simpson, but from an early time. I mean, you can see different degrees of quality. And if you move towards the west, you go to what they call the Art Deco quartier. It's being filled. I mean, it is supposed that it's going to keep going until 2050 or something like that. So it's very good quality, very good invention, and obviously it's Disney. So Disney here is controlling the quality. So you have a very exigent client.
Yes, and before a listener today hears Disney and say, Disneyfication. At Disney. Look at the revenue of Disney. It's a printing press for money. People love this stuff.
When they do these buildings, they are sold immediately. Everyone wants to live there because on top of the quality of the buildings are good quality, good price, because also the developers have been learning how to do all that. There is a lot of reconstituted stone, there is a lot of render, there is a lot of caveats, but the quality is quite good, has been evolving, it gets better and better and better. If you compare those buildings that are probably 10, 15 years ago with the ones we saw at the beginning, the quality has increased. So it's quite important to see the learning curve that they have been getting there. So it's quite important to keep that together because it's possible at a gentle density as well to achieve a beautiful architecture. And all that is designed. I mean, obviously they are not single houses. They are like several. They're multifamily houses. In there, some of them are social housing. So you are providing people who cannot afford a house at market rate with a very good quality design, which is important as well. Because these
What kind of structure are these?
Sorry?
What's the structural element,
Concrete.
like the construction type?
It's pure concrete. If you check if it's a way they do things in France. Don't ask. Everything, including the internal partition walls, you can see there at the bottom, to the left. You can see one of them in construction. No. Go to the right. In the background, you see the crane. That's how they do it. It's all concrete.
It's full on concrete. It's amazing.
It's full on concrete. Even the internal partitions are done in concrete. So we are not talking about concrete structure, concrete skeleton. It's even the internal partitions.
It's industrialized on-site casting.
Yes.
They have very sophisticated formwork, and they build it very quickly, and it has all kinds of stuff, insulation and all the systems through it. Oh my God. It's French, very French, fully engineered.
Yeah, you don't find that in other countries in Europe. It's very French way of doing things. That's why I say don't ask. Why it became the standard like 25 years ago, and that's it. So do it that way. But they won't allow you to do other way if you are doing at that scale. If you're doing a small house, you can do whatever you want.
They still have the very tiny elevators like you have in Paris. I remember almost every building I went to in Paris, the elevators were so tiny.
No, these ones have like proper elevators at the size allowed by whatever the regulations say, which will be quite big. I think like minimum 1.5 by 1.5 to allow for a wheelchair.
I just remember the story told by Piercarlo Bontempi. So that he was in his house, which was recently completed in the north of Italy, and a group of Dutch tourists came by with a guidebook. So they came and they knocked on the door, and they said, "Oh, can we see this house?" "Sure, come in." They said, "This house is not listed in our guidebook." He said, "Because this is my house and it's a new house. I'm an architect. It was completed 3 years ago." They said, "No, you're kidding. This cannot be. This is a historic palace, but it's not in our guidebook."
Piercarlo Bontempi. Bontempi, there you have. Very interesting building. It has like a wine cellar, very beautifully done, like a wine, like a vineyard, very beautifully done. Looks like it's a scenery from the Magic Flute.
He's a lovely
he won the
guy.
Treehouse Prize.
Yes, he also won the Treehouse Prize.
We can find some pictures of his buildings. He has many buildings. Anyway, Piercarlo is hated by the architectural mafia in Italy.
Yeah, he's a very lovely, soft-spoken guy. Does lovely work. Tagliaventi also did some of the most compelling designs in Val d'Europe are by Tagliaventi.
Yeah, Gabriele Tagliaventi.
Really good architecture. Everybody that was there really.
GL Taglia, TAGL.
You don't pronounce the G when it comes before a consonant. Taglia.
I.
Tagliaventi. It's like a
T-I. T-I. Yeah.
Tagliaventi.
Yeah, Gabriele.
You don't pronounce the G, I think.
An old friend. I haven't seen him for years.
No, I think he just pronounced it so I could spell it because I wasn't spelling it correctly.
Sorry, thank you.
Yeah, some beautiful things. Yeah, that's Gabriele.
Oh wow.
And of course, you can obviously we are putting honors here. We cannot forget Maurice Culot and Arcas.
Yes.
Maurice
Culot.
Culot.
Yeah, wait. We didn't see any of Gabriele's buildings.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, show some of Gabriele Tagliaventi's buildings.
I just want to type that name and then I'll go back to.
Okay.
Oops. Maurice
Culot, C-U-L-O-T. He's a Belgian, I think.
Yes.
Is he Belgian or yes, Belgian.
He's French. He's from Paris.
He's
He might be
French?
Belgian,
Yeah.
but he's in Paris.
But
Yeah.
he lives in Brussels, no?
No,
he lives-
Paris.
Really? Yeah.
I think he was, but I met him in Paris, and I know that his office is in Paris. Maybe he has a presence.
This is in Paris, but I mean, when I met him, he was living in.
He works with William Pesson. William Pesson works for him. They're the loveliest, most amazing folks. Culot. We were wondering who is the next Leon Krier. Culot is way up there.
Okay, we are over time, but I think it's worth to show some pictures because, as we discussed on the last show that we had, the academic semester has started and tens of thousands of architecture students have begun their mind indoctrination of horrible, ugly modernist buildings. They will never see any of the buildings we have shown today in our video.
Yeah, and we only see them if we're looking at what not to do. They'll show something like that and be like, "Oh, this is bad." You know, it's
right.
Yeah, it's
and
really
as you can see, that we have just skimmed the surface. There are so many wonderful, beautiful, contemporary human scale buildings that are being built by people whom we know. And Pablo and Nier, we could spend hours finding those buildings. No architecture student is ever going to see them.
Unfortunately not, and it's fine because when they are shown, everyone says, "Oh, it's possible." I say, "Of course it is. Of course it is possible." And there are many more. I mean, even within what I would say the gods of modernism. I mean, even in Spain, there are modernist architects who have done quite amazing classical work, and nobody talks about them because obviously they want. It is not in their own architect interest. But that image that you're seeing there is they call that area the Art Deco Quartier, because if you take the square as an axis, to the west of the square they call it Val du Gob, which is more the area to showcase European architecture, which is basically French and English. At the end of the day, is Disney making a statement, and to the left it's the Art Deco Quartier, which is much more affordable construction, much denser, and obviously it's trying to emulate the architecture of the 1930s in France, which works very well which is also something else to consider, because we have the image, because especially Nikos as mentioning about what we are told at the architectural schools, and the narrative in the architectural schools is that in 1920 something everyone dropped their pencils. All columns were declared glorified corpses, as Le Corbusier used to say, and modernism started. And actually, no, modernism starts properly taking over after the Second World War. Even in the 1930s, there was still a massive fight against modernism. Dr. Buras was mentioning Reginald Blomfield, and Reginald Blomfield was one of the first in writing an amazing book called Modernismus, against modern architecture. And it has been always mocked and hated, but hate is gonna hate. And once you read the book, which is amazing, you realize. I mean, I'm reading it currently. And Blomfield, Modernismus by Reginald Blomfield. The book is not available. I have a scanned copy.
M-U-S.
Modernismus, mus.
Yeah, the German word.
Yes, yeah. It's very, very good book. Whatever No. Blomfield. You have to look Blomfield.
B-L-O. B-L-O-M.
With only one O. Blomfield, Reginald Blomfield.
Have you ever read him, Nikos?
No, I've never found this book.
It's amazing. I'm right now. I am reading.
But you're reading another one, Doctor.
The Touchstone of Architecture.
Touchstones of Architecture. But
And listen, look at this. Look at this. John Galen Howard, the architect, the San Francisco architect, he built half of the Berkeley campus, owned the book. This was this from his library. And his son donated it to the, I think it's the San Francisco Institute of Art.
But just for the audience, Reginald Blomfield was one of the most prolific British architects at the turn of the century.
Oh, really?
Probably he was, when you go to London and see Regent Street is Reginald Blomfield's work. He did a lot of country houses. He continued the work of Norman Shaw. No, that's Arthur Blomfield, which is his father. Reginald, just that one below. An amazing architect. He was probably one of the last classical architects who was able to reconcile the new needs of the modern world with the classical language, because he had to face things that for us are now normal, but for him they were not, like toilets, cars, elevators, garden rooms, cinemas, theaters. So he faced all of them with a great skill. And that gate that you saw before is the gate at Tibes. It was done in the 1920s after the First World War. 1920s, when everyone tells you, no, everyone was doing Bill Savoy and the Pavilion of Barcelona. This is what people were demanding in the 1920s. And Blomfield was one of the most advocates of saying that tradition is not a thing of the past. Tradition will take us to the future. And that's something that the modernists just vanished. And one of the reasons why Blomfield was forgotten is because he was very verbal against modernism, while others, like Lutyens, were not. Lutyens was never verbal against modernism, or at least not as verbal as Blomfield, and modernists probably never forgave Blomfield to do that. It's quite an amazing architect, which I recommend everyone who is listening to us to seek more about his work. It's really impressive. It's the essence of Edwardian architecture and the so-called Renaissance with W instead of R, like, because go back. That's a water tower in Lincoln. The next one, please.
Previously, yeah, that one.
That's a water tower. So that is pure industry. So something that 20 years after they would say, because it's early 20th century, then they would tell us, no, that has to be like a concrete post period. And look at that. Blomfield was giving a very interesting way of dealing with a water tower in a medium. Sorry for the people from Lincoln. In a small to medium, otherwise very beautiful cathedral city in UK. And if you go to the next one, I think that's a library as well in Lincoln. Yeah, that's the library in Lincoln. Very amazing. Again, libraries were a typology that didn't exist up until 19th century. And Blomfield is a master on almost everything he did. He did as a master work. He did a lot of country houses. I had the pleasure of working in one of them. It's quite an amazing architect that he did, and everyone should look at him. I would say, I know that in UK, Lutyens is a god, but Blomfield has been very unfairly forgotten. And everyone loves Regent Street, and Regent Street is Blomfield's.
So Nash laid out Regent Street originally.
Yes.
And then so Blomfield and Nash had some sort of an upper promenade on it. What was that?
Nash had a colonnade. So because the Regent Street that Nash created, so it's Regent Street.
G-E-N-T. Yeah.
Yes. John Nash Regent Street. I don't think if you're going to be able, go back. I think you need to check Regent Street before. Nash Regent Street before, so that you can see how it was. Yes, click on images. That's how it looked like. It had in many areas. No, that's after Blomfield. That's how it started. So it had like a colonnade, a portico, but it was very bad quality. and it was like very very badly intervened over the years. So by the beginning of 20th century, it needed a revamp. Those were like Georgian terraces that have been heavily refurbished. It's not like the good quality houses in Belgravia and Pimlico. These ones were built just to be smashed, basically. So all that area and the colonnades became problematic. They were dark. They were crashing with the vehicles. So that's why they went for the.
So basically, Blomfield took out the colonnades.
The colonnades and all the buildings. I mean, all he was responsible. I think that up to half of Regent Street, between Regent Street and Oxford Circus, half of it is by Blomfield, mostly all around Piccadilly, and the Piccadilly Hotel, which is very beautiful as well.
There was an interesting insight I got from near Buras, which was you want an even number of columns and odd number of bays, so you have a center.
Yes.
But it's interesting that a lot of the times all the bays get the same treatment. I would think maybe you would give the center maybe something additional, but maybe it does read better when they all have.
If it's a prominent entrance you wanted, otherwise there's no reason to make it prominent.
Correct.
And you're going to go for the middle bay anyways, because that's symmetry. That's how it works on the brain.
Correct. And that
but you know, Ara, can I, you know, in Haratzachta v'gam yarashta, after King David sent his best general Uriah the Hittite because he wanted Bathsheba. He was the husband of Bathsheba. Yeah. He sent Uriah into battle to die so that he could. And then he not
nasty
only
story.
Sorry, a nasty story.
Yeah, it is.
He not only got the man killed, but he also took his possession. He took his wife and vineyard, his property.
Oh,
he took the whole 9 yards. And the prophet Nathan, for which my father is named, went to David and said, "Haratzachta v'gam yarashta, have you murdered and also inherited?" Well, I kind of feel like this because of all the noise I made earlier, and I'm really, really sorry for now asking for something, but I did want to bring attention in this conversation to the fact that the Classic Planning Academy is starting a new cohort in October 30th. And Mr. Hovsepian, as an aspiring classicist, it might be something you will be interested in. And I just wanted to put it out there. Mr. Funes can speak to it further, telling more about what we do and how we do it. But if it's appropriate, I'm not trying to push. I don't want to be in a position of haratzachta v'gam yarashta.
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with giving information to our viewers, but we're way over time, so let's do this quickly.
No, I think that basically what we want to say to anyone who is watching us and is interested, we are offering a full course on Introduction to Architectural Literacy and Classic Planning, which is divided in 30 weeks. And you will learn all the principles of architectural literacy. You will learn how to draw and design classical buildings. And you will learn which are the principles behind the classic planning cities that we all love, and how to make your place a better place. Yeah. So that's basically, if you're interested, please visit the Classic Planning Institute or contact Dr. Buras or myself. And I'm sure that Ara will very kindly give you an email if you contact him, and we will be more than happy to explain you further. So because we don't want to take more of your time. So thank you very much.
And you can, if anybody hears this and is interested, you can go to the classicplanning.org website, click on Academy, and apply through there. It's an honor to serve. Most of our students are mid-career or graduated folks. So this is really about getting working chops. We're also applying for academic accreditation. So the classes one takes now might actually lead one to an advanced degree once we get that accreditation.
Wait, what was that
Okay.
phrase in Hebrew? I want to know
This
just
is
like
not a linguistic lesson.
No, I know.
Let's end.
Nevcharisto.
Okay.
We had a fantastic participation of Pablo Alvarez Funes with his
This is awesome.
extensive knowledge.
Thank you.
For people who don't know, Pablo has lived and worked in London. That's why he has intimate knowledge of all this London architecture.
I have been living in London for 14 years now,
Yeah.
but I'm originally from southern Spain.
Yeah. Okay, so Ara, concluding, you're the MC, concluding statements before we end.
Yeah. So I want to share that I've been sharing with a lot of people that I think it's a good idea to look into God and look into the religious text and look at religion, even though, see, a lot of people these days, they think that's for, stupid people, like, oh, looking into religious texts is not smart. But, I highly recommend looking at what your ancestors looked at and what they thought. Oh, and so I was sharing with a few people this, and I got a lot of people saying that they don't want to repent. They're worried about certain things because they feel like they might be cursed by God or something. And I share that story about King David. I'm like, is what you did worse than this? Because like, what you did is, because this is really bad, and God still talked to him, and he was still a prophet. So, I mean, hey, he wanted to build a beautiful temple to God, and God came to him and said, "You have too much blood on your hands. You're not going to, but one of your descendants will." But other than that, God still talked to him, and he was a prophet.
And then Solomon came, and he built the temple, and the Queen of Sheba, who some people identified with Hatshepsut of Egypt, came to visit him, and she went back to Egypt and built a full-on Solomonic temple at Dir al-Bahri. That's her temple, her tomb and temple. And at the base of it are the Lions of Judah.
Oh.
It's a real thing.
Okay, that's a topic for a complete new video. Okay, should we end this today? Show the first temple.
We have too much fun, At the end of the day, we deal in beauty, and we have a lot of fun doing it. Thank you very, very much.
Today, we can talk about the relationship between the Temple of Solomon, El Escorial, and Alhambra.
Wow.
Just saying.
I think it's cool, the layers, like the Holy of Holies enshrouded, and it's like layer and layer. It's a really cool architectural concept.
As a matter of fact, the high priest, this is function, form follows function. The high priest, when he went into the Holy of Holies, was the only person allowed into the Holy of Holies, just the high priest. That he had a chain wrapped around his ankle when he walked in. So in case he died in there, he could be hauled out. Nobody else would go in. Oh, excuse me, please. Do notice the windows in the Clear story. In the Bible, it says that the building had chalonei zgugim atumim. It had glass windows. And that's the first reference to glass windows in history.
Really? Wow.
Oh, wow.
But do you think they were blown glass or rock or crystal? Rock crystal.
No, it was glass. It was glass that had been molded.
It's not like
it's not blown. I don't think they were blown glass. They were probably just made out of.
Scroll a little up. Look at show the baptismal font. I want to have the last word. The baptismal font.
What's something else? What's the baptismal font?
Scroll a bit up. Yeah.
That's not baptismal.
It's a baptismal font sitting on bulls. There is a replica of that, 4th century AD in Liège, Belgium, that I have seen in the cathedral. It's a fantastic piece of art.
But that's not a baptismal. The original one in the temple was not baptismal because baptism doesn't start until John the Baptist.
You're right.
You know why they needed the water?
No.
That was to clean, no?
To clean the blood off. The actual rites celebrated there included a huge amount of ritual slaughter. And the quantity of blood everywhere required a huge basin to wash the place up. In the Yom Kippur prayers, there is a little section where it describes the slaughter and the spraying of blood on the altar. And everybody counts together with the high priest. 1, 2, 3 ladles of blood splattered on the altar.
Oh, oh.
That's why the Jews replaced sacrifice with liturgy.
Okay. Yeah, that's
You want more?
All right, pull the plug. We'll pull the plug.
Well, this has been amazing. This has been so much fun and so educational.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.